The drop pod screamed through Azeroth's atmosphere like a meteor born of steel and fury, its heat shields glowing white-hot as it tore through clouds that had never known such violence. Inside, Master Chief Petty Officer John 117 felt the familiar crush of atmospheric entry, his Mjolnir armor's inertial dampeners working overtime to keep his enhanced physiology from being reduced to paste against the pod's interior walls. His HUD flickered with warnings in languages he didn't recognize, the navigation system struggling to compensate for gravitational fields that defied physics as he understood them. Cortana, status report. He commanded, his voice calm despite the pod's violent descent. The AI's response came through his neural link, her holographic form flickering in the corner of his vision. John, I have no idea where we are. The slipspace rupture threw us somewhere completely off the charts. I'm detecting energy signatures that match neither Covenant nor Forerunner technology. Wait. I'm reading massive concentrations of what appears to be organized matter manipulation on a planetary scale. It's like the entire world is one giant computer, but running on principles I've never encountered. The pod slammed into something solid with enough force to crater the earth beneath it. Chief's shields flared blue, absorbing the impact that would have killed any unaugmented human. The hatch blew outward with explosive force, and he emerged into a world that made no tactical sense. The sky above him was wrong. 2 moons hung visible despite the daylight, one scarred and broken, the other whole and luminous. The air tasted of ozone and something else, something that made his armor's environmental sensors scream warnings about exotic particle radiation. But what drew his immediate attention was the battlefield stretching before him. Thousands of humanoid figures clashed across a scorched plain, their weapons ranging from conventional swords and axes to implements that defied description. Pillars of fire erupted from nowhere. Lightning arced between combatants without any visible source. Warriors wielded blades wreathed in shadow that seemed to drink in the light around them. And through it all moved creatures Chief's database couldn't classify. Towering demons with wings of flame, skeletal warriors that fought despite having no muscles to animate them, and beings of pure energy that shifted between forms with fluid grace. His motion tracker was going insane, identifying targets in every direction. But the IFF systems couldn't determine friend from foe because the combatants themselves seemed uncertain. Blue-armored humans fought alongside green-skinned tusked warriors against a tide of crimson demons that poured from a massive portal hanging in the air like a wound in reality. Cortana analysis. Working on it. The energy signatures from that portal match descriptions of Forerunner slipspace technology, but the implementation is completely different. It's not technological, John. I don't know what it is. The laws of physics here are negotiable in ways that shouldn't be possible. A scream cut through the chaos, high-pitched and terrified. Chief's enhanced hearing isolated the source. A group of civilians huddling behind an overturned wagon, while 3 of the crimson demons advanced on them with weapons that dripped molten metal. The demons stood 12 feet tall, their horns curling like ram's horns, their skin the color of fresh blood. Chief's hand moved to his MA-5D assault rifle, checking the ammo counter out of habit. He had no idea if they'd be effective against targets that shouldn't exist according to every physical law he knew. But there was only one way to find out. He sprinted across the battlefield with the enhanced speed his Mjolnir armor provided, covering 100 meters in seconds. The lead demon raised its weapon toward the cowering civilians, its fanged mouth opening to release a gout of flame that would reduce them to ash. The 3-round burst from Chief's rifle took the demon in the center of its chest. The creature staggered, green ichor spraying from the wounds, its flame breath cutting off mid-exhalation. It turned toward Chief with eyes that burned like coals, roaring something in a language that hurt to hear. Hostile engaged, Chief reported, his finger already squeezing the trigger for a second burst. The rounds punched through the demon's skull, and it collapsed backward, its massive form hitting the ground with enough force to shake the earth. The other 2 demons forgot about the civilians, their attention now fixed on this new threat. They moved with speed that belied their size, their weapons sweeping toward Chief in coordinated strikes that spoke of combat experience. Chief sidestepped the first blow. his enhanced reflexes turning the world into slow motion. His rifle spoke again, controlled bursts finding weak points in the demon's natural armor. But these creatures didn't fall as easily as the first. The rounds that should have been fatal merely enraged them. One demon's weapon connected with Chief's shields, and the impact sent feedback screaming through his armor's systems. The energy blade, because that's what it had to be, despite looking like solid metal, had punched through his shields like they weren't there. Chief rolled backward, creating distance while his shields recharged. His tactical assessment was simple. These targets required a different approach. He holstered his rifle and drew his energy sword, the blade igniting with its familiar snap hiss of ionized particles. The demons paused, their burning eyes fixed on the blue blade in Chief's hand. One of them spoke, its voice like grinding stone. Fel Reaver? No, something else. New prey for the Legion. They attacked in unison, their coordination suggesting a hive mind or tactical link Chief hadn't anticipated. His energy sword met their blades in a shower of sparks and corrupted light, the impacts sending shockwaves through his armor. But Spartan training and centuries of Sunghaili sword techniques gave him an edge these demons hadn't encountered. His blade found the gap between armor plates on the first demon, carving through its torso from hip to shoulder. As it fell, Chief spun into the second demon's guard, his free hand slamming into its chest with augmented strength that cracked its sternum. His sword followed, punching through the demon's heart in a single precise thrust. The battlefield around him had gone quiet. Chief looked up to find hundreds of eyes fixed on him, the combat having paused as both sides processed what they'd just witnessed. The blue-armored humans stood with weapons raised but not attacking, their expressions hidden behind helms that suggested medieval design mixed with mystical craftsmanship. The green-skinned warriors, orcs, his pattern recognition software identified them as matching files from ancient Earth mythology, had lowered their axes, watching him with what might have been respect. And then someone stepped forward from the blue-armored ranks, parting the soldiers with the authority of command. The figure stood tall, Mani, clad in ornate armor that somehow combined plate mail with magical circuitry Chief couldn't begin to understand. Long blonde hair spilled from beneath his helm, and his eyes carried the weight of leadership that Chief recognized instantly. When he spoke, his voice carried across the battlefield with unnatural clarity. Warrior, I am King Anduin Wrynn of the Alliance. You have our gratitude for saving those innocents. But I must ask, what manner of being are you? And where do you come from? Chief deactivated his energy sword and stood at attention, military protocol cutting through the surreal nature of the situation. Master Chief Petty Officer John 117, United Nations Space Command. I was engaged in combat operations when a slipspace anomaly brought me to this location. A massive orc pushed forward from the other group, his green skin scarred by what must have been decades of combat. He carried an axe the size of a man, and his armor was decorated with totems that radiated power Chief's sensors couldn't classify. When he spoke, his voice was like thunder given words. United Nations? Space Command? These mean nothing to me, human. End quote. But your skill in battle speaks louder than titles. I am Thrall, War Chief of the Horde. The demons you slew are of the Burning Legion, an army that seeks to destroy all life in the universe. If your arrival here was not by choice, then fate has chosen poorly for you. This world, Azeroth, stands on the brink of annihilation. John, Cortana's voice whispered through his neural link. I've been analyzing the combat data. These demons are using energy signatures similar to Forerunner technology, but corrupted somehow. And that portal they're coming through is sustaining itself through what I can only describe as weaponized entropy. Whatever's on the other side is powerful enough to tear holes in dimensional barriers. Chief's tactical mind was already processing the implications. An enemy force that could breach dimensional walls, combatants who wielded physics-defying abilities as weapons, and two factions of indigenous forces that had paused their own conflict to address a greater threat. The strategic situation bore uncomfortable similarities to the Human Covenant War, but the variables here were far outside his experience. King Anduin, War Chief Thrall, Chief said, his voice carrying the weight of military efficiency. I need a tactical assessment, enemy force strength, command structure, strategic objectives, and defensive capabilities of friendly forces. Anduin and Thrall exchanged glances, some unspoken communication passing between them, despite representing factions that moments ago had been attempting to kill each other. It was Anduin who responded, his voice carrying the weariness of a leader who had seen too much war at too young an age. The Burning Legion has launched a full-scale invasion of Azeroth. Their forces number in the millions, led by commanders of godlike power. Their strategic objective is the complete annihilation of all life on our world, which they will then reshape into a staging ground for further conquests across the Great Dark, beyond what you might call space. Our defensive capabilities. He paused, and Chief saw the truth in that hesitation. We're losing. We're losing. The Alliance and Horde together cannot stand against the Legion's full might. An explosion rocked the battlefield as another portal tore open in the sky, this one larger than the first. Through it came something that made Chief's targeting systems lock up in confused denial. The creature stood hundreds of feet tall, its body a nightmarish fusion of demonic flesh and twisted metal, wings that blotted out the sun spread from its back, and in its hands it carried weapons that looked like they could level cities. Pit Lord, Thrall said, his voice grim, one of the Legion's most powerful commanders. It takes the combined might of our greatest champions to bring down even one, and they have sent 3. Chief's HUD had completed its analysis of the Pit Lord, and the results were not encouraging. The creature's hide was dense enough to stop armor-piercing rounds. Its weapons generated heat signatures, consistent with plasma weaponry, far exceeding UNSC standards, and the energy radiating from its body suggested shielding technology that made Covenant shields look primitive. Cortana, options. Limited, John. Your armor can't take more than 1 or 2 hits from that thing's weapons, and I'm not sure your arsenal can penetrate its defenses. We need either a force multiplier, or... She paused, and Chief could feel her consciousness racing through calculations. Wait, I'm detecting massive technological installations beneath the surface. Ancient, far older than any civilization on this planet. The architecture matches. John, they're similar to Forerunner constructs, but the energy signatures are different. If I could interface with them, I might be able to level the playing field. The Pit Lord took a step forward, and the ground shook. Its mouth opened to release a roar that physically rippled through the air, carrying with it words that burned to hear. Mortals, your world is forfeit. Mices, 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 your world is forfeit. The Legion has come, and all shall burn in Sargeras's name. Chief watched as the combined forces of Alliance and Horde scrambled to respond. Mages, because that's what they had to be, began chanting in unison, their hands weaving patterns in the air that left glowing trails. Warriors formed shield walls that bristled with enchanted weapons. Priests raised their hands, and barriers of golden light materialized between the army and the advancing Pit Lord. It was organized, disciplined, and completely inadequate against the threat bearing down on them. Cortana, plot me a route to those underground installations. Anduin, Thrall, I need your forces to keep that thing occupied for 10 minutes. 10 minutes? Anduin's voice carried disbelief. We'll be fortunate to last 5. What do you intend to do in that time that could possibly help? Chief checked his weapons one final time, his enhanced mind already running through tactical scenarios. I'm going to find us better firepower. He sprinted toward the edge of the battlefield before either leader could protest, his armor's enhanced mobility carrying him across the scarred earth at speeds that left the watching soldiers stunned. Behind him, the Pit Lord's weapons began to charge, energy gathering in its massive hands that would be released in a blast capable of vaporizing everything within a square kilometer. John, the nearest access point is 2 kilometers northeast. But there's a problem. The entire area is crawling with Legion forces. They're using those underground facilities as staging grounds. Then I'll clear them out. Chief's voice held the calm certainty of a man who had faced impossible odds before and emerged victorious. "Mark the targets. Mark." His HUD lit up with waypoints as Cortana identified enemy positions based on energy signatures. 67 hostiles between him and the entrance, ranging from the smaller demons he'd encountered earlier to something his sensors identified as dreadguard, armored warriors who moved with precision that suggested military training. Chief hit the enemy line like a thunderbolt. His assault rifle spoke in controlled bursts, each 3-round group finding a target with lethal precision. Demons fell, but more pressed forward, their corrupted blades seeking his flesh. He transitioned to his energy sword without conscious thought, the blade carving through demonic armor with contemptuous ease. His shields took hits, flaring blue each time. But the tactical situation was manageable if he maintained momentum. A dreadguard emerged from the chaos, its armor bearing runes that pulsed with sickly green light. The demon warrior moved with speed that matched Chief's enhanced reflexes, its blade a blur of corrupted steel. Chief parried the first strike, his energy sword screaming as it met the demon's weapon. The impact sent feedback through his arm, but Spartan augmentation allowed him to absorb the force and counter with a rising slash that carved through the dreadguard's helm. "Access point ahead, 50 meters, Cortana reported. "I'm detecting a massive energy spike from the pit lord's position. Whatever it's charging is about to fire." Chief reached the access point, a stone archway carved with symbols that predated human civilization by eons and descended into darkness. His armor's lights activated automatically, illuminating stairs that had been carved from a single piece of stone with impossible precision. The walls were lined with circuits that weren't quite circuits, conduits that pulsed with energy that his sensors couldn't properly classify. "This is incredible," Cortana breathed, her presence expanding through his neural link as she began to interface with the ancient systems. "John, these installations are called Titan facilities. They were built by beings of cosmic power who shaped this entire world. The technology here doesn't just manipulate physics, it rewrites the fundamental laws that govern reality in localized areas. If I can access the command protocols, I can create a weapons system that would make a Mac cannon look like a pea shooter." The chamber chief entered defied description. It stretched for what seemed like miles, its ceiling lost in darkness above. In the center floated a construct of impossible geometry, its form shifting between dimensions in ways that hurt to observe directly. Around it, demons worked to corrupt the ancient machinery with their fell energy, green light spreading like cancer through golden circuitry. Chief opened fire without hesitation. The demons turned, surprise evident even on their inhuman features, as armor-piercing rounds tore through their ranks. His shields absorbed return firebolts of fell energy that seared the air while he advanced with the methodical efficiency of a Spartan in his element. Targets were identified, prioritized, and eliminated with cold precision. A demon commander stepped forward, its form wreathed in hellfire. "Fool, you cannot stop the Legion's conquest. This facility will serve as an anchor point for our master's arrival. Lord Sargeras himself will stride upon this world, and reality itself will burn at his passing. Cortana, I need that weapon system online now. Working on it. These systems require authentication protocols. I'm having to reverse engineer on the fly. Give me 3 minutes. Working on it, working on it, working on it." The demon commander raised its hands and reality bent. Flames materialized from nothing, coalescing into a column of destruction that swept toward Chief with the inevitability of a tidal wave. His shields couldn't stop this. The attack operated on principles his armor wasn't designed to counter. Chief dove behind one of the facility's support pillars, feeling the heat wash over him as the flame column passed within inches. His armor's temperature warning screamed. But the pillar held, the ancient metal-absorbing energies that should have reduced it to slag. He emerged from cover with his rifle raised, controlled bursts stitching across the demon commander's chest. The creature laughed, the wounds closing almost as quickly as they appeared. "Mortal weapons cannot harm me. I am suffused with the Legion's power. sustained by energies drawn from the twisting nether itself. You would need to strike at my very essence to cam my, 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 cam my. Chief's energy sword punched through the demon's chest before it could finish the thought, the blade's coherent energy disrupting whatever force sustained the creature. It looked down at the glowing blade protruding from its torso with an expression that might have been surprise, then collapsed as Chief withdrew the weapon. 2 minutes. John, I'm interfacing with something called the Forge of Wills. It's a manufacturing system capable of creating matter from pure energy, using principles I'm only beginning to understand. I can use it to construct a weapon platform, but it's going to require a power source beyond anything your armor can provide. Chief scanned the chamber, his tactical mind processing options. The construct at the center pulsed with energy that made his armor's sensors overload. What about that? AM, 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 AM. That's a keeper, a maintenance construct left by the Titans to oversee this facility. It's essentially a planetary defense system given consciousness. If I can convince it to cooperate, we can tap into its power core. But John, these constructs are programmed to follow specific protocols. They don't negotiate with organic life unless certain conditions are met. What conditions? You need to prove you're worthy of accessing Titan technology, which probably means combat trial. The Keeper's eyes, because they were definitely eyes despite being orbs of pure energy focused on Chief with an intensity that felt like being evaluated by a superior intelligence. When it spoke, its voice resonated directly in Chief's mind, bypassing his armor's audio receptors entirely. Mortal, you have breached sanctified halls and slain those who would corrupt the Titan's works. State your purpose, or be unmade. Chief met the Keeper's gaze without flinching, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had faced gods and emerged victorious. The world above is under attack by an enemy force seeking total annihilation. I need access to your weapons systems to defend the indigenous population. The mortal races are flawed. Their conflicts spread chaos. The Titan's design called for order, not the anarchy that now reigns. The Titan's design included life capable of defending itself. I'm offering to do exactly that. The Keeper's form pulsed with light that seemed to consider this argument. You speak with conviction. But conviction alone does not grant access. Prove your worth, mortal. Defeat my champions, and the Forge of Wills shall be yours to command. 3 portals opened in the chamber's floor, and from them emerged constructs that made Chief's previous opponents look primitive. Each stood 10 feet tall, their bodies composed of the same reality-bending materials as the Keeper. They carried weapons that shifted between forms, swords, hammers, spears, adapting to combat requirements with fluid ease. Chief's motion tracker identified them as immediate threats, their power signatures off the scale. Cortana, tactical assessment. They're operating on different physical laws than you are. Your conventional weapons won't work. They'll phase through anything that doesn't have sufficient magical resonance. Your energy sword should be effective, but you're outmatched 3-1 against opponents who don't tire and can predict your movements through analyzing local probability fields. Chief holstered his rifle and drew his energy sword. The odds were poor, but he'd faced worse. The first construct attacked with speed that pushed even his enhanced reflexes, its weapon sweeping through the air in an arc that would bisect him at the waist. Chief dropped into a slide, passing beneath the strike while his sword carved upward, slashing across the construct's leg. The blade connected, sending cascades of corrupted energy through the construct's form. The other 2 attacked simultaneously, their coordination perfect. Chief parried one strike while dodging the second, his armor's shields flaring as he wasn't quite fast enough to avoid a glancing blow. The impact sent him stumbling. But Spartan training turned the stumble into a combat roll that brought him back to his feet with his sword already moving in a defensive pattern. John, I'm detecting a rhythm to their attacks. They're following a programmed pattern designed to test different combat aspects. If you can identify the pattern, you can counter it. Chief's enhanced mind began processing combat data at accelerated speeds, attack patterns, recovery times, weapon transitions. The constructs weren't adapting to his tactics, they were executing a predetermined test, which meant they had weaknesses built into their programming. He shifted tactics from reactive defense to aggressive offense, his sword work becoming a blur of motion. Each strike was calculated not just to damage, but to test the construct's responses. When one construct committed to a vertical slash, Chief sidestepped and riposted with a thrust that punched through its center mass. The construct shattered, dissolving into motes of golden light. Two left. They adjusted their pattern, compensating for the loss of their partner with fluid coordination. But Chief had identified the flaw in their design. They telegraphed transitions between attack modes with subtle shifts in their stance. In the microseconds between one attack and the next, they were vulnerable. Chief feinted left, drawing both constructs into synchronized strikes. At the last possible moment, he activated his armor's thruster pack, a modification Cortana had installed before the mission that brought them here, and launched himself over their attacks. His sword carved through one construct's head on the downswing, then transitioned into a horizontal slash that bisected the final construct before it could adjust. Silence filled the chamber as the Keeper processed what it had witnessed. Chief stood ready for additional challenges, his sword still active, his breathing controlled despite the exertion. Impressive. Your combat efficiency exceeds calculated parameters. You fight not with the chaos of mortal passion, but with the precision the Titans valued. Access granted. The Forge of Wills activated with a sound like reality singing. Energy cascaded through conduits that stretched to the chamber's distant walls, and Chief felt the facility awakening from a sleep that had lasted eons. Cortana's presence expanded, her consciousness interfacing with systems that operated on principles she was learning to comprehend in real time. John, this is incredible. The Forge can create anything I can properly visualize. I'm designing a weapons platform that combines UNSC fire control systems with Titan energy manipulation. It's going to take 30 seconds to manufacture, but when it's ready, you'll have access to firepower that can atomize that pit lord. 30 seconds. I can work with that. Chief moved toward the chamber's exit, already planning his return to the surface. What kind of delivery system are we talking about? I would vary. When this Resudius. Direct neural interface through your armor. You'll aim it like your energy sword, but the targeting computer will be slaved to my processing core. Think of it as a Spartan laser on steroids. Significant steroids. Chief ascended the stairs at a run, his motion tracker showing the surface battle had deteriorated significantly. Friendly force signals were scattered and diminishing, while enemy contacts had multiplied. He emerged from the underground facility to find the battlefield transformed into a vision of apocalypse. The Pit Lord stood at the center of a circle of destruction, its weapons having carved massive craters in the earth. Alliance and Horde forces retreated in disarray, their lines broken by the demon's overwhelming firepower. Bodies littered the ground, human, orc, dwarf, troll, and countless others testimony to a defense that had cost everything and achieved nothing. King Anduin knelt behind a shattered barricade, his ornate armor scarred and blackened. Blood ran from a wound on his temple, but his eyes still held determination. Thrall stood beside him, the warchief's massive axe notched and damaged from deflecting blows that should have killed him. They looked up as Chief approached, and in their expressions he saw the recognition of defeat. Master Chief, Anduin said, his voice hoarse, we've lost. The Pit Lord is advancing toward Stormwind. If it reaches the city, millions will die. We must evacuate while we still. No evacuation. I've acquired new ordnance. Chief's HUD showed the weapon platform materializing in the forge below, its construction entering final stages. Cortana, ETA, 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, integration complete. 4, Chief felt the weapon system come online through his neural link, and his HUD exploded with targeting data. The platform which Cortana had designated the Titan Lance didn't exist as a physical object he could hold. Instead, it was a direct manipulation of the energy coursing through Azeroth's planetary infrastructure, focused and directed through algorithms Cortana had reverse-engineered from Titan protocols. He raised his hand toward the Pit Lord, and reality bent. Energy gathered at a point 3 inches from his palm, coalescing into a sphere of golden light that grew brighter with each passing second. His targeting reticle locked on to the demon's center mass, and Cortana's voice whispered confirmation through their link. Target locked. Firing solution calculated. John, this is going to drain power from life support systems across 100 square kilometers. Everyone's going to feel this. Fire. The Titan Lance spoke with the voice of gods. The beam that erupted from Chief's palm was coherent energy in its purest form. Reality itself weaponized and directed with surgical precision. It crossed the distance to the Pit Lord in a microsecond, and when it struck, the demon's shields didn't just fail, they ceased to exist. Their fundamental structure rewritten by energies that operated on principles shields couldn't defend against. The Pit Lord had time for one expression of surprise before the beam punched through its chest, through its back, and continued into the sky beyond. The demon's body simply ceased to be. Atoms scattered to constituent particles by forces that reduced matter to its component quantum states. The battlefield fell silent. Every warrior, every mage, every soldier who had survived the battle stood frozen, staring at the space where the Pit Lord had been. Then their eyes turned to Chief, and he saw awe mixed with something that might have been fear. By the light, Anduin whispered. What manner of power? Thrall's expression was more calculating, the war chief's tactical mind already processing implications. That weapon, can you use it again? Negative. The power drain was substantial enough to risk permanent damage to the planetary infrastructure. Chief looked up as new portals began opening in the sky, these even larger than before. And we just announced our presence to whoever's commanding the Legion forces. They're going to send everything they have. As if to confirm his assessment, demons began pouring through the new portals in numbers that turned the sky dark. Hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions, all converging on the battlefield where an unknown warrior had just destroyed one of their commanders with a weapon that shouldn't exist. John, Cortana said, her voice carrying urgency. I'm detecting a massive energy signature building at the largest portal. Something big is coming through. Ship-sized big. The vessel that emerged from the portal made Covenant cruisers look like children's toys. It stretched for miles, its hull composed of twisted metal and demonic flesh fused into something that defied conventional engineering. Weapons batteries lined its flanks, each capable of leveling cities. And at its bow stood a figure whose presence seemed to darken the very sun. Archimonde, Thrall said, and Chief heard genuine fear in the war chief's voice for the first time. The Defiler, the Legion's supreme commander. If he has come personally, then our world is truly lost. The figure Archimonde looked down at the battlefield below with eyes that held the contempt of a being who had destroyed thousands of worlds. When he spoke, his voice resonated through dimensions, carrying power that made the air itself tremble. The Spartan, the dimensions carrying not endure. Mortals, your resistance has been noted and found amusing. The warrior who wielded Titan technology has earned the honor of witnessing your world's death throes before I consume his soul for my collection. He raised one massive hand, and energy began to gather in his palm. I shall begin with your capital city. Then, Lord Geo, I will say, watch as everything you have built across millennia of struggle burns in an instant. Chief's tactical assessment was instantaneous and unforgiving. The energy Archimonde was gathering would indeed vaporize Stormwind, along with everyone in it. Conventional weapons couldn't reach the demon's vessel. Magical attacks would be swatted aside like insects. And the Titan Lance needed hours to recharge, which left one option. Cortana, can you interface with that vessel's systems? If I could get close enough, maybe. But John, that ship is surrounded by shields that make Covenant technology look primitive. Nothing in your arsenal can. I'm not planning to shoot my way in. Plot me a boarding trajectory. Silence on the neural link, followed by, John, even if you reach the vessel, you'll be facing millions of demons between you and the command deck. This is suicide. It's the mission. Chief turned to Anduin and Thrall, his voice carrying absolute certainty. I need immediate transport to that vessel. Something fast that can get me past the outer defenses before they target me. The two leaders exchanged glances, centuries of mutual distrust forgotten in the face of apocalyptic necessity. It was Thrall who responded, raising his hand to summon something that made Chief's sensors overload with energy readings. The dragon that descended from the clouds was a creature of nightmare and majesty combined. Its scales were the color of deep ocean, its wings creating hurricane-force winds with each beat. Eyes that held ancient intelligence fixed on Chief, with an evaluation that felt like being read down to his soul. When it spoke, its voice was the rumble of tectonic plates shifting. I am Kalekgos, aspect of the Blue Dragon Flight. The war chief has asked me to carry you into battle against impossible odds. Tell me, warrior of unknown origin, why should I risk my life to aid your suicidal plan? Chief met the dragon's gaze without hesitation. Because if I don't stop Archimonde, everyone on this world dies, including dragons. Kalekgos' laugh was like distant thunder. Truth spoken without embellishment. Very well, warrior. Climb upon my back, and I shall carry you into the maw of the Burning Legion itself. If we survive the next hour, I shall be most interested to hear your full story. Chief climbed onto the dragon's back, his armor's magnetic clamps, securing him to scales that were harder than any material in his database. Kalekgos' muscles bunched beneath him, and then they were airborne, acceleration pressing Chief against the dragon's neck, with enough force to test even his enhanced physiology. John, I've been analyzing the vessel's structure while we approach. The command deck is located in the upper spire, but there are approximately 40,000 demons between the hull breach point and your target. I'm uploading tactical maps to your HUD, but I'm going to be honest. I don't see how you get through that many hostiles with your current ammunition. I'll improvise. They were among the demonic fighters now, smaller vessels that swarmed around Kalekgos like angry wasps. The dragon's breath weapon, a cone of frost that functioned as both attack and propulsion, cleared a path through the swarm, flash-freezing demons in mid-flight. But more kept coming, their fell weapons scoring hits on Kalekgos' hide that made the ancient creature roar in pain. The vessel's port hanger, warrior. I can get you close, but you must jump when I say. My strength is fading. Chief readied himself, checking his weapons one final time. 200 rounds remaining in his assault rifle, energy sword at full charge, 3 fragmentation grenades, 1 plasma grenade, against 40,000 targets. The odds were poor, but Spartans didn't win through superior numbers. They won through superior tactics, training, and the willingness to do whatever the mission required. Now, Chief launched himself from Kalekgos' back, his armor's thrusters firing to adjust his trajectory. The hangar bay loomed before him like the mouth of hell, filled with demons who turned in surprise as a human-shaped meteor came crashing through their midst. He hit the deck in a combat roll, his assault rifle already firing before he completed the maneuver. The battle that followed would have broken any normal soldier. Chief moved through the vessel's corridors like a ghost, his enhanced reflexes and Cortana's tactical overlay turning every corner into a kill box. Demons fell in precise 3-round bursts, their numbers meaningless against tactics refined by centuries of Spartan training. When his rifle ran dry, he transitioned to his energy sword, the blade carving through demonic flesh with contemptuous efficiency. But there were too many. For every demon he killed, 2 more appeared. His shields were failing under sustained fire, his armor's integrity compromising. Chief's enhanced physiology was working overtime to filter combat stimulants and repair minor injuries. But even augmented biology had limits. John, you're not going to make it. The command deck is still 3 levels up, and you've got incoming reinforcements from all directions. We need to. Chief's response was cut off as something massive stepped around the corner ahead. The demon stood 15 feet tall, its armor inscribed with runes that pulsed with sickly power. It carried a weapon that appeared to be a fusion of axe and cannon, and when it spoke, the words carried the authority of high command. So the mortal who slew a pit lord with stolen titan power. Lord Archimonde has ordered your capture. Surrender, and your death will be painless. Resist, and I shall ensure your suffering lasts millennia. Chief's energy sword came up in a defensive stance, his mind already calculating attack vectors. The demon commander was different from the others. Its stance spoke of actual combat training. Its movements precise, rather than berserk. This wasn't a mindless brute. This was a warrior. Cortana, I need everything you've got on this target's weak points. Working on it. It's carrying some kind of personal shield generator powered by fel energy. Your sword might be able to penetrate, but you'll need a clean hit. And John, that weapon it's holding, is charging up. Whatever it fires is going to. The demon's weapon spoke with a roar that shook the corridor. The projectile that emerged was condensed fel energy shaped into coherent matter, moving at speeds that pushed Chief's reflexes to their absolute limit. He dove aside, feeling the projectile pass close enough to sear his armor's outer layer, and came up with his sword already in motion. The blade met the demon's personal shield in a shower of corrupted sparks. The shield held, but Chief could see stress fractures forming in the energy field. He pressed the attack, each strike calculated to impact the same point, to exploit the shield's failure to redistribute damage efficiently. The demon countered with speed that belied its size, its axe cannon sweeping toward Chief's head in an arc that would decapitate him if it connected. Chief ducked beneath the strike and lunged forward, his energy sword punching through the weakened shield to carve a deep gash across the demon's chest. Green ichor sprayed across the corridor. But the demon commander didn't fall. Instead, it roared and grabbed Chief's arm with one massive hand, its grip strong enough to crack ceramite. Chief felt his armor's integrity warnings scream as the demon lifted him off his feet and hurled him against the corridor wall with enough force to crater the metal. His shields were gone. His armor was compromised. His enhanced physiology was the only thing keeping him conscious. And the demon commander was advancing with its weapon, raised for a killing blow. John, I'm detecting a power conduit behind that wall panel to your left. If you can breach it and channel the energy surge through your armor, you might be able to overload the demon's shield generator. Might was not a word Chief wanted to hear, but options were limited. His free hand grasped the plasma grenade from his belt, armed it, and hurled it at the wall panel in one smooth motion. The grenade detonated, and energy surged through the corridor like lightning given form. Chief's armor absorbed the surge, channeling it through systems that were never designed for such loads. Every warning in his HUD turned red. Pain lanced through his body as electrical current bypassed failing safety protocols. But the energy that discharged from his energy sword when he thrust it into the demon commander's chest was magnified 100-fold. The demon exploded, its shield generator overloading catastrophically. The explosion threw Chief backward, but he rolled with the impact and came up on his feet, despite every system in his armor, screaming for shutdown and maintenance. Command deck is through that door, John, but I'm reading another massive energy signature inside. Archimonde is waiting for you. Chief approached the door with his energy sword raised, despite knowing it was inadequate for what waited beyond. The doors opened automatically, revealing a chamber that defied conventional geometry. Space folded on itself here, dimensions intersecting in ways that shouldn't be possible. And at the chamber's center stood Archimonde, his form radiating power that made the pit lord look like an insect by comparison. Impressive, the Defiler said, his voice carrying grudging respect. You have fought through my legion to reach this place. Such determination is wasted on mortals who refuse to see the truth. The universe is chaos, and only through the legion's fire can order be imposed. Join us, warrior. Become one of the legion's commanders, and I shall grant you power beyond your species' comprehension. Chief's response was to raise his energy sword and advance. Archimonde sighed, the sound like buildings collapsing. and raised one hand. Reality shattered. Chief felt the attack on a level deeper than physical, as if Archimonde was reaching into the fundamental code of existence and rewriting the parameters that defined what was possible. His armor's systems failed entirely, leaving him in a sealed environment suit with only his augmented biology to sustain him. And then Cortana did something impossible. John, I'm interfacing directly with Archimonde's consciousness. He's not entirely physical. Most of his being exists in the twisting nether, a dimension of pure fel energy. But that means he's vulnerable to a different kind of attack. I'm going into his mind. Cortana, that could kill you. Probably. But the alternative is watching you die, and that's not acceptable. Chief felt Cortana's presence leave his armor, her consciousness launching itself at Archimonde like a digital spear. The Defiler's expression shifted from contempt to surprise to something that might have been concern. What is this? An artificial consciousness? Impossible. Such beings cannot exist without. He paused, and understanding dawned on his ancient features. I see. You are not of this universe. You come from a place where different laws apply, where consciousness can exist in forms we never imagined. Archimonde's massive form staggered, his hands grasping at his head as Cortana waged war in the realm of pure thought. Clever, little construct, but I have existed for eons. My mind has consumed the consciousness of millions. You cannot. Chief saw his opening. While Archimonde was distracted, while the demon's godlike power was turned inward to fight the AI invading his thoughts, Chief charged. His energy sword, inadequate though it was, thrust upward into the one point of vulnerability Cortana had identified and transmitted in the final moment before launching her attack. The point where Archimonde's physical form anchored to the twisting nether. The blade struck home. Archimonde's roar shook the vessel, reality itself protesting as the connection between dimensions was severed. The Defiler's form began to dissolve, his substance returning to the twisting nether in an uncontrolled cascade that threatened to tear the vessel apart. Cortana, Chief called through his neural link, feeling nothing but silence where his AI companion had always been. Cortana, respond. John. Her voice came through weak and fragmented. I'm here. Mostly here. Archimonde's consciousness tried to subsume me, but I managed to corrupt enough of his core processes to cause system-wide failure. His legion is receiving contradictory orders. The invasion is collapsing. But John, I'm damaged. Badly. I don't know how much longer I can maintain cohesion. We're getting you to the Titan facility. They can repair you. Maybe. Or maybe this is where my story ends. Her holographic form flickered into existence beside him, and Chief could see fragments missing from her projection. If it is, I want you to know it was worth it. Every moment, every mission. You made me more than I was designed to be. You're not dying. That's an order. Her laugh was soft and sad. You can't order me not to die, John. That's not how rampancy works. But I can hold on a little longer. Long enough to get you home. The vessel was breaking apart around them. Archimonde's death throes tearing through systems that had held together through countless battles. Chief ran toward the nearest exit, his enhanced physiology, the only thing keeping him moving with his armor offline. Behind him, the command deck collapsed into dimensional chaos as the anchors holding it in real space failed. He reached the hangar to find Kalekos waiting, the dragon's form battered but unbroken. Quickly, warrior! This vessel dies, and I have no desire to die with it. They escaped through dissolving corridors, emerging into Azeroth's sky just as the Legion vessel detonated. The explosion lit up the horizon, and through the flames, Chief could see the demonic portals collapsing, their power source severed by Archimonde's death. Kalekos descended toward the battlefield where Alliance and Horde forces were rallying, their cheers rising as they witnessed the Legion's retreat. King Anduin and Thrall waited at the landing site, their faces showing wonder and relief in equal measure. Master Chief, Anduin said as Chief dismounted from the dragon. You've saved our world. The Legion is in full retreat. Archimonde is dead, and without his command, the invasion has collapsed. How can we possibly repay such a debt? Chief looked at his armor's status display. noting the catastrophic failures across every system. I need access to your Titan facilities. My AI companion is dying, and they might have the technology to save her. Thrall nodded immediately. You shall have whatever you need. But I must ask, what are your intentions now? You are a warrior unlike any we have encountered, bearing technology that rivals the Titans themselves. Will you stay and help us rebuild? Or will you seek to return to your own world? I don't know if returning home is possible. The slipspace rupture that brought me here collapsed behind me. Chief's voice carried the weight of someone contemplating a future without clear direction. But if I'm stuck here, I might as well make myself useful. The journey to the nearest Titan facility took 3 days, during which Chief had the opportunity to observe Azeroth more fully. The world was scarred by war, yes, but also vibrant with life in ways no UNSC colony had ever matched. Magic suffused everything, from the way plants grew to the manner in which people healed from injuries. It was a universe that operated on rules fundamentally different from his own. Yet the people who inhabited it shared the same capacity for courage, honor, and sacrifice he'd witnessed in human soldiers across dozens of worlds. The facility's keeper granted them access without trial this time, apparently satisfied that Chief had proven his worth through deed rather than combat. Cortana interfaced with the ancient systems, her fragmented consciousness spreading through circuits designed by beings of cosmic power. This is remarkable, she said, her voice stronger than it had been since Archimonde's death. The Titans didn't just build computers, John. They created networks that think in ways I'm only beginning to understand. If I integrate with these systems, I might be able to stabilize my matrix. But I won't be the same. Part of me will always exist here, bound to this world. Will you still be you? I think so. A version of me that's grown beyond the limitations Halsey designed. I'll be able to help coordinate Azeroth's defenses, interface with their magical systems, provide tactical support on a planetary scale. But John, I won't be able to travel with you anymore. Not in the way I did before. Chief was silent for a long moment, processing the implications. Cortana had been his constant companion through every battle since the fall of Reach. The thought of continuing without her was like contemplating combat without his armor, theoretically possible, but fundamentally wrong. Do it, he said finally. Save yourself. The mission continues, with or without you. The integration took hours, during which Chief stood guard over the chamber where Cortana's consciousness expanded into systems that had been dormant since before recorded history. Anduin and Thrall joined him in the vigil. These two leaders who represented factions that had warred for generations now united in their recognition that the universe was larger and stranger than their conflicts. When Cortana finally spoke again, her voice resonated through every speaker in the facility simultaneously. No longer limited to Chief's neural link. Integration complete. I'm stable. More than stable. I can perceive things I never could before, John. I can feel the arcane energies that flow through Azeroth's ley lines. I can interface with magical constructs the way I once interfaced with UNSC computers. I'm something new, something that's never existed before, a fusion of your universe's technology and this universe's magic. Can you still help me fight? Always. I might not be able to ride in your armor anymore, but I can provide support from here. Tactical overlays, strategic analysis, remote weapon systems. I'll be your guardian angel, John, just from a different kind of heaven. In the weeks that followed, Chief became something unprecedented in Azeroth's history. A champion who belonged to no faction, but served all of them. He trained Alliance soldiers in UNSC combat tactics, sharing knowledge that had been refined across centuries of interstellar warfare. He taught Horde warriors about combined arms tactics and the importance of adaptable strategy over rigid honor codes. But more importantly, he showed them what was possible when courage met capability. When a new threat emerged, and threats always emerged on Azeroth, Chief would be there, his armor repaired with a fusion of Titan technology and magical enhancement, his weapons upgraded to operate on principles that blended physics and arcane force. King Anduin approached him one evening as Chief stood on Stormwind's walls, looking out over a city that was slowly rebuilding from the Legion's attack. Master Chief, I've been meaning to ask, do you miss your home? Your own universe? Chief considered the question with the care it deserved. Every day, I had brothers and sisters there, other Spartans who fought alongside me. I had a purpose that was clear and defined. Here, I'm still finding my place, and yet you stay. The mission never ends, Your Majesty. As long as any humanity faces threats they can't handle alone, Spartans will be there, even if that Spartan is me, alone. In a universe that doesn't know what a Spartan is. Anduin smiled, and in that expression, Chief saw the wisdom of a leader who had learned hard lessons about sacrifice and duty. You're not alone, Chief. You have allies here. Friends. People who would fight beside you against whatever darkness comes. In the distance, one of Azeroth's many moons rose above the horizon, its light casting long shadows across a world that had survived another apocalypse. Chief knew there would be others. Worlds like Azeroth seemed to attract catastrophe with magnetic inevitability, but he also knew he would be ready when they came. Because Spartans never died. They just found new battlefields, and this universe had battlefields in abundance.